From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, November 22nd, 2014. Silver is trading at $16.45 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,202 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $358. Antiwar.com reports a U.S. drone destroyed a house in Madakhel village in North Waziristan yesterday, killing 6 people and wounding 3 others. None of the slain were identified, but all were labeled suspects. If that story sounds awfully familiar, it's because it is. That drone attack marks the 500th confirmed U.S. drone strike outside of actual war zones, with just about 10 years worth of strikes. The strikes were extremely rare at first, a couple a year in Pakistan during the waning years of the Bush administration. Now the attacks are increasingly common, not just in Pakistan, but in Yemen as well. The 500 attacks have killed some 3,674 people, and while only 473 are listed as confirmed civilians, the vast majority of the other slain have never been conclusively identified, remaining forever suspects. The use of suspects as a catch-all for random slain tribesmen has become increasingly common in recent years, with the number of people ever named at all now merely a handful of the 100 slain yearly. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They now take Bitcoin for purchasing precious metals so you can turn your profits into a long-term investment. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing. 800-874-9760. ABC News reports, on May 25, 1975, Ricky Jackson and Wiley Bridgman went to jail for a murder they did not commit. Sentenced to death on the testimony of a single juvenile witness, the men continued to protest their innocence through the years of incarceration. On Friday, nearly 40 years later, they walked out of prison after the state's witness in the case admitted that he concocted his testimony under police intimidation. A case suffused with emotion culminated in exoneration Friday morning when Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Judge Richard McMonigal formally dismissed all charges against Jackson after a brief hearing. Bridgman, whose case was heard separately, was exonerated 2 hours later by Judge David Matia. The two joined Bridgman's younger brother Ronnie, who was found guilty of the same crime and eventually paroled in 2003. The three were originally jailed for the 1975 murder of Harry Franks, a Cleveland businessman, after a 12-year-old witness, Edward Vernon, told police that he had seen them attack the victim. No physical evidence linked them to the crime scene. Jackson was just 19 when he was sentenced to die. Wiley Bridgman was 20 and Ronnie was 17. Wiley Bridgman, now 60, quietly thanked the judge and attorneys in the courthouse as his case was dismissed. He had once been less than 3 weeks away from execution, rescued when the U.S. Supreme Court struck down Ohio's previous capital punishment law in 1978. The case was a major victory for the Ohio Innocence Project, which coordinated much of the investigation into the exonerating evidence and whose staff attorney, Brian Howe, represented Jackson. Terry Gilbert and David Mills, who together represented the brothers, worked with the Innocence Project during the case. In the spirit of Motorhome Diaries and Liberty on Tour, I intend to take the message of peace, love, and liberty on the road. To find out more about the tour or to donate, visit tour.fppradio.com. That's tour.fppradio.com. The BBC reports a U.S. House of Representatives investigation has found no wrongdoing by the Obama administration in responding to the deadly 2012 attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. The inquiry by the Republican-run House Intelligence Committee also said there was no intelligence failure and no delay in sending a CIA rescue team. The Obama administration had been accused of mishandling its response. In a report released on Friday, the committee dismissed a claim that the CIA had not provided adequate security for its own agents near the Benghazi consulate, and that the Obama administration had failed to send support. It said it reached its conclusion based on thousands of hours of detailed investigation and interviews with senior American officials and the agents who had been on the ground during the attack on September 11, 2012. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.